So another week in the books, and this week I wore some really good cold weather fragrances. Some that I've been meaning to pull out for a long time, some new additions to the collection, some awesome fragrances nonetheless. It's week number 58. Stay tuned. So starting off on Sunday, this is a fragrance that I recently got from Kingdom Fragrances. It's one of the mini Montales that I picked up. Just did a full review on it as well. I'm talking about Honey Oud. This fragrance is not as sweet as you may think. Don't get me wrong, it's a sweet fragrance, for sure. But the way it's blended and the balance here is just done so well because there's a gorgeous amber and vanilla in here that works well with the oud and the honey that they used. There's a few other fragrance notes in here as well, but that's really the prominent notes to my nose. It doesn't change a whole lot. It stays relatively linear, but what you get from start to finish is an absolutely beautiful, sweet, gourmand oud style fragrance that's a performance beast, and it was an absolute pleasure to wear this week. And that's Montale Honey Oud. And then when I got out the shower that night, I had just recently picked up some Cambridge Night shower gels at Burlington. So after I got out the shower, I went with my weaker performing bottle of Cambridge Night, those loose bottles that you find at Marshall's. Not the best performers, but for out the shower, 4 or 5 hour fragrance, that's more than enough. Has that, Invictus smell with the black currant added to it. It's my favorite from the house. And out the shower that night, went with Cambridge Night. So moving into Monday, this is one that it's been quite a while since I wore. It was time. It's a very overlooked and underrated designer fragrance. It's Michael Kors for Men. This is the big 4 ounce bottle. This stuff is highly underrated. It's got a beautiful anise note in it. It's got a kind of boozy, leathery type of smell, even though there's no boozy note in it. And it performs decent. It's like a 6 to 7 hour fragrance. Nothing super strong, but it's not the weakest fragrance either. And when you can find them at the rack stores, they're only 30 bucks for this 4 ounce bottle. And it's I think it's like at least $10 more when you find it from FragranceNet and places like that online. So if you can find it in the rack stores, that's usually where these Michael Kors fragrances turn up. This is actually a stunning, underrated designer fragrance for the winter. Great for the cold. Definitely wears pretty heavy. It does a good job cutting through the cold. During the day I wore Michael Kors for Men, and it was kind of an interesting day. So I actually had 3 fragrances that I went with on this day because earlier in the morning, my father-in-law had got back from his eye appointment. Turns out he did not need surgery on his eye, so the in-laws wanted to celebrate. They invited us over for dinner, go have some steaks and stuff, like grill some steaks on the balcony. So we went over to their house for dinner that evening, and I decided to bust out Dolce & Gabbana The One Mysterious Night. Finally had a real good evening situation to pull this one out, and I gotta tell you, this is special. Not underrated, people know about it. It's just not the easiest thing to get. And man, is this stuff good. It's very powdery. Not overly powdery. The rose doesn't smell like an old lady floral fragrance. The way the oud is, I gotta say, this is pretty much a niche level fragrance. They use some very high quality oils in this flanker of the One. And I haven't tried Royal Night, but so far, this blows away the rest in the line. It's absolutely stunning. This fragrance is spectacular, and it's powerful without being too powerful. It went for hours and hours and hours and hours until I got home and took another shower that evening, because I took a shower earlier in the day after the gym. But whenever we went to have dinner with the in-laws, and I'm glad I pulled this one out. They thought it smelled incredible. They hadn't smelled anything like it before. My wife's, technically not sister-in-law because they're not married yet, but I guess one day maybe sister-in-law, actually commented on this. She could smell it from across the room and was curious. Said it smells very woody. And, I mean, it's oud based, so that was a pretty good guess. If you haven't tried this one, guys, I know you can get decants on eBay and places like that. There's a lot of places that sell decants of this, or if you can get a sample, try it. I get it, it's an oud rose and it's been done 1,000 times over, but something special about this one compared to even some of the niche oud rose fragrances that I have. This stuff is spectacular. And then when I got home and took that other shower, you would think after wearing heavier fragrances all day, I would have wanted to go with something fresh. Actually, believe it or not, out the shower, I went with Prada L'Homme Intense. I wore 3 heavy fragrances that day. Not super heavy, but I mean 3 different fragrances for sure, because had the more, you know, kind of Armani Code style fragrance with Michael Kors for men. Then I had an oud rose fragrance that was powdery, and went with an iris leather patchouli powdery fragrance to finish the night. And man, this is so good. Some will argue the best Prada L'Homme, and that's hard to argue with, but I do prefer the original if I had to pick just one. But the Intense is just fantastic. Out the shower that night, Prada L'Homme Intense. Moving into Tuesday, this is another one that's kind of recent to the collection. I did a full review on it and a giveaway a while back, and it's simple, yet it really just smells great. It's an easy wear, it's relatively dry, it's ambery, it's woody, it's spicy. It's number 301 from Bon Parfumer. The sandalwood's very pencil shaving-esque, slightly creamy. The amber's very warm. The cardamom adds a little tiny touch of sweetness with some spice. It performs decent. It's just a good fragrance, and it's definitely a very dry fragrance. That's a good way to describe this one. You got to smell it to understand where I'm coming from. You know how some fragrances will smell like a Prada L'Homme Intense, like we had just talked about, for example. It has a very moist type of smell, a wet patchouli, if you will. And some fragrances will be really sweet and have kind of a moist kind of smell, certain sweet tobaccos and stuff like that. This definitely has a dry wood smell, and it really, really works. I don't have, for as simple of a note breakdown as it is, I don't really have anything else that smells like 301 from Bon Parfumer. They're a very affordable niche house over in France, and I mean, they just, so far so good. Is the only one I've tried from them, and this is fantastic. I do plan on getting a few more fragrances from them very, very soon. And I got to tell you, this was labeled as a must try on their website, and I'm glad it's the one I picked first, because 301, it's a fantastic amber fragrance. And then when I got out the shower that night, went with something creamy, musky, and relaxing. Chrome United from Zaharoff. This one just winds me down in the evenings. Every once in a while, I'll just get in the mood for it, and it has that effect. It just has a beautiful calming effect on me. It's nothing that I like to wear casually. I specifically like to wear it in the evenings to help me kind of wind down. It's great out the shower. It's great before bed because, like I said, for me, it's a very, very relaxing aromatherapy kind of situation with Chrome United. And out the shower that night, it's exactly what I went with. So moving into Wednesday, this is a recent acquisition from the beginning of the week. I actually picked this up in my Burlington Hunt video and featured it in my 10 cheap fragrances that are flying under the radar video from yesterday. I'll put that right here if you haven't checked it out yet, because this is a fantastic fragrance. I saw Chad from A Gentleman's Journey just featured it in a winter cheapie list. It's Guess 1981 Los Angeles. This stuff is great. It's a spicier take on Versace Eros is the best way I can describe it, the easiest way to describe it. It just works. If you like Eros, you mix in some dry black pepper up top. It's kind of what you get. It's got a little bit of an ambery smell later on, but it's more of that sandalwood that really comes through for me. It definitely has a strong creaminess in the dry down. It's beautiful. It's very youthful, synthetic. I mean, it's a Guess fragrance, but for 20 bucks for this 100 milliliter bottle, I believe it's a steal at that price because it does perform pretty well. It's not a beast. Far from weak. It's in that moderate to slightly above average kind of range. You know, 6 to 8 hours depending on your skin. I'm getting kind of around somewhere in between that, around 7 hours. I wore it all day actually. This was what I wore out the shower as well. So I was just enjoying it. Even 5-6 hours in on the second time I sprayed it after my shower, I was still just added a few more sprays to smell the opening again. It's a beautiful smell. It's an addictive smell. It's kind of intoxicating. It's a very, very easy wear, and I can see a lot of high school guys, college guys, younger guys in their 20s really enjoying this one. Any age can enjoy any fragrance, obviously. I mean, I think it smells great, especially for 20 bucks. It's a hell of a steal. All day long, I was enjoying Guess 1981 Los Angeles. Moving into Thursday, this is one that I haven't pulled out in a while, and it's one of the better designer fragrances for the winter. I find that's on the market. They have a lot of flankers that have come out since, and I haven't tried any of them actually. Of course, I'm talking about Emporio Armani, Stronger With You. I haven't tried Freeze, Intensely, absolutely, the newest one coming out. I haven't tried Leather. Eventually, I need to try them. Because the original is just so freaking good. Very warm and cozy. And performs very well, too. The old lady loves the way this one smells. It's just a really good fragrance. I don't know what I can say that I haven't said before about this one, because if you don't know about Stronger With You, you need to sample it. You need to try it. It's gorgeous. It's great in the cold. It's great for evenings and dates. And it definitely can pull in some positive attention. Very, very warm and spicy. Has a sweetness, has that gorgeous chestnut in the dry down. It's powerful without being overbearing. It's sweet without being too much. It's spicy without being dry. It's just a damn good fragrance. And it's Stronger With You. Then out the shower that night, it was time for another shave. So I busted out my Strike Gold Shave and Happy Land Studios Barbershop Shave Soap, and also the Aftershave Splash. This is pretty much my favorite shave set that I have. I do enjoy my Gentleman's Nod and Zaharoff products. Great stuff, don't get me wrong. Have a couple of sets from Sphinx Beard that are really good. Have some Alexandria stuff, Katie's Bubbles, Sterling Soap Company. I got a lot of really good shaving products. But I get so much joy out of wearing this one. It's Strike Gold's awesome products with the Happy Land Barbershop Oil. It's a great combination, it really is. If you haven't tried it, you traditional shavers out there, you need to get your hands on a set. It's out the shower that night, I had a good shave, Happy Land Studio and Strike Gold Shave Barbershop. Moving into Friday, one of the most popular designer fragrances possibly ever. It's got more fame than any other fragrance in its own line, even more so than the original. And I'm talking about Dior Homme Intense, my big old 5-ounce bottle. I didn't even spray it that much. I think I gave myself 4 sprays, 1 on each side of the neck, 2 on the chest. Some good stuff. That waxy iris, so good. Some people swear by this one. This is some people's favorite version of Dior Homme, and I get it. My favorite happens to be the Parfum, and I actually like the original more so than this one. I would put this one slightly above Dior Homme Eau, but I get it. I get the hype on this one. I get the love. If you like iris, it's a must-have. Valentino One More Intense has a similarity to it. It's very close. Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Parfum, same thing, very, very close. But I don't know, it's just something about the waxiness of the iris is not the same from the Valentino version and the Givenchy version. Something about, it's one of those deals where if you want to smell like Dior Homme Intense, you really need to smell like, spray some Dior Homme Intense to be exact. I mean, spray the original. Those are great, don't get me wrong. I don't own One More Intense. I do have Gentleman EDP, but it performs great. It's not a beast off of my skin in projection. For the first 2 hours, it's pretty damn strong off of my skin, but after that, it's kind of close to the skin, but it doesn't go away for a very, very long time. We're talking 10 to 12 hours on my skin. This is a 2019 batch bottle. I don't remember the exact, here's, if you want to check it out, there's 8M01. Forgot which month in 2019, but it still performs great. I haven't tried the newer batches. From what I understand, they're pretty much the same. I don't know, yet to be determined, but absolutely enjoyed wearing this one throughout the day. And then when I got out the shower that night, one that I haven't worn in a little while, Nautica Life Energy. Essentially smells like Bleu de Chanel, the Eau de Toilette, without the incense note. Kind of similar, if you will, to Acqua Essenziale from Salvatore Ferragamo, the original in that line. Kind of similar to this one as well. This one's a little bit more aquatic because of the C notes that are in it. And for the 10 to 12 bucks you can get this one for, it's great out the shower. It really is. Fits exactly what I needed it for. That's what I wear Nautica fragrances for, is out the shower. Just sitting around the house after I get out the shower, and it fulfilled that. You see this out for 10 bucks, 12 bucks, maybe give it a shot. Serves a purpose. Nautica Life Energy. And then finally on Saturday, I've been itching to pull this one out. I had spent so much time with Triumph of Bacchus, I really wanted to give it its due. I want to spend a lot of time with this one before I do a review on it as well. Of course, I'm talking about BACIO Immortale from Argos. Fruity leather. It's exactly what it is. So clean, so pure. Christian uses such high quality oils. It's unreal how clean his fragrances smell, no matter what the notes are. Triumph of Bacchus, that's a boozy tobacco. It smells so clean, it's unreal. Same thing here. This is a slightly animalic leather, not overly animalic, but dominant leather, Tom Ford Tuscan leather style, just on a grander scale because of the quality of the oils used in here. And the raspberry is super believable, and you get a big blast of it in the opening. Definitely going to spend a lot more time with it. Not going to do a review in the next week. I would say probably the following week. Maybe sometime next week you'll see a review out on this one. I'm going to spend some more time with it, maybe give it another full wearing, and continue to do my test sprays like I usually do on my arms every night, so I can really get all the nuances that are available in BACIO IMMORTALE, because these fragrances are so complex. There's so many nuances to them that I really want to check out all the changes and really be able to give you my full thoughts on these fragrances. So be on the lookout for that. Definitely enjoying wearing this one so far, BACIO IMMORTALE. And then when I got out the shower that night, Old Faithful, Nautica Classic. Haven't been wearing it much lately. I was just in the mood for it. Pulled it out. My usual 4 sprays around my neck, like I usually do with my out the shower fragrances. And yeah, that pretty much sums up the week. It finished off with Nautica Classic out the shower. Well guys, that was the rotation for week number 58. Until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. What did you wear this week? A lot of cheapies, designers. Was it a niche heavy week for you? Had a little bit of everything like I usually do. Unless I have a themed week, I usually have a little bit of everything in my rotation. I like to mix it up, if you will, because that's one of the beauties and burdens of having a lot of fragrances, is there's a lot of options. And you want to wear a lot of different things all the time. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of these and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.